Let's now dive further into the rest of your work, which is Wisdom Accelerators. And here in Jack's book, in this segment, Wisdom Accelerators, it brings Hydroviews to life through poetry, spiritual reflections, and practical insights. Here, each chapter or accelerator, as Jack defines them, is designed to lift us up towards a deeper purpose, towards healing, and of course the planetary consciousness that he mentions so much. So tell us about, I mean, we're gonna later gonna share some of I mean, your links and everything to your work. It's gonna be here. So before we dive into your work per se, tell us, I mean, we've been diving throughout this, but the details. What is Wisdom Accelerators, and how can you explain it better to us?
Well, when I first started writing the book, I called it Hydroviews.
Okay.
And then I realized, okay, nobody knows what a hydroview is because I invented the term. When I was single, I used to use people would ask me what I do. I'd say I'm a hydroviewpointologist.
Okay.
And, whoa, I never heard of that. What is that? I made it up.
It's a good conversation starter, I think.
Exactly. And I don't know if it ever got me a date or, but it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of hydroviews as a way of thinking is a way
Okay.
of expanding your knowledge and your view, and especially of taking something as simple as water and realizing that it's not that simple. It
Yeah.
might be the most complex, simple thing there is
That's
on the
what's so
planet.
beautiful. It's a paradigm. It's so complex but so simple. That's why it's everywhere and so misunderstood in many ways,
Yeah,
right?
and most people believe water has memory
Yeah.
and has wisdom and everything, and I don't necessarily buy that. I tend to think that water is a conduit.
Yeah.
Water doesn't care
Yeah.
if it's in a teardrop or in your anus. It's
Yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
doing what it needs to do.
Regardless, it does not have an opinion, and I like that because it's neutral in a way, right?
It's very neutral and it's ready to serve.
Okay.
It doesn't care what the capacity is. It reads the surrounding. It drops into a cell and immediately knows that this is a liver cell or a brain cell, an
Yeah.
eye cell, or whatever type of cell
Yeah.
it is, and it does the work it needs to based on the old patterns that are in the cell.
Yeah.
But that's where thinking comes into play.
Yeah.
That's where consciousness comes into play because Masaru Emoto's work is clear evidence that water, and there are people that dispute it because it's not always scientifically
Because
duplicatable.
that's what's so sad. It doesn't clear the science part, but there's still this mystical elements to it. Why can't you just take this as a fact as well? But it's as long as you can't see it, it's always gonna be there.
There's one experiment that Masaru Emoto did that I found really interesting. That he was invited to speak in Haifa, Israel, and they sent him a bottle of water from there, from the city water,
Mm-hmm.
and he did a test on it, which is really distorted crystals. And then he put that bottle of water on his desk. Well, when he got to Israel, the night before, he got together with a group of, I think it was a dozen people, and they showed that bottle on his desk, and they all prayed, focused in on that bottle of water, just
Mm-hmm.
trying to charge
Yeah, I
that
heard
bottle of
about this.
water.
I heard about this. Yeah.
And then they redid the water, and before anybody knew it, he's up speaking. They got the download. He never saw the download. They showed the first test on the same water, then they showed the next one. And while it
Okay.
wasn't a perfectly beautiful crystal, it changed radically. It
Yeah.
still had a crystalline structure brought into it. And water gets that crystalline structure through movement. Water, just like water in nature, water in our bodies is not meant to sit still. Sit down too long, don't get up, you die.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you see what happens when it becomes stale. And I like this that you were saying about the crystals and the shapes, the and I'm thinking of a snow flake. A snowflake is not each one is unique. And how through the coldness, water. I mean, this flake just gets this beautiful, shape. I mean, it's always been so interesting, and they're all different. So and if they are unique and we're unique, the uniqueness, of the of existence in a way.
And that ability to shift from an ice crystal
Yeah.
to a water to a vapor. And now, the crystalline or EZ water, when it's running across rocks in a river, when you see it coming out in a stream, when water is moving like that, it's restructured. Crystalline water is often called structured water. And I think this is an
Yeah.
important note for people. Structured water is all water is structured, you know,
Okay.
a higher structure of water has more crystalline in it, but structured water isn't necessarily crystalline water. You know, an example would be IBM takes distilled water, which you think of the purest water, and they have to take it and purify it 10 more times before they can start making the crystals. They make water so pure you can't even drink it. It would be actually harmful to drink it. When I was drinking all RO water is when I got cancer. I thought,
Okay.
okay, I wanted pure water, so I had a reverse osmosis. I was drinking only our, I don't know that that caused it. I don't try and blame it or find the cause, but I
But it
actually
makes
cell
sense.
phone.
It makes sense. Anything that you take to the extremes in life, as we say, it's harmful. You know.
Yes, and this I think the cell phone is probably one of the most harmful things, and part of why I got cancer. I was holding a cell phone up to my ear
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
I just got into a new love life, and we were talking on the phone all the time. And back then, you didn't have,
Yeah.
good
And they were
microphones.
big. Yeah. Nowadays, you use the earphones or you have a speaker, and I try never to have it
And I
as far as.
strongly recommend against Bluetooth earphones.
Okay.
You're putting EMF technologies right into your brain. Pull them away 1 inch, you reduce them by tenfold, 2 inches, 20-fold. It just every inch you get a cell phone, put your
Yeah.
cell phone out here. Take it away from your body. When you sleep at night, don't put it right next to your bed. Move it away. Cell phone technology is harmful. Just as, and we don't want to go too far here, but the turn of the century, I believe very strongly that part of the reason in the late part of the 18th century, we saw the rise of the sect religion. We saw the Seventh Day Adventist. We saw a number of the theosophical, the Urantia teachings. I believe that the spiritual entities of the planet said, uh-oh, the kids are about to play with electricity.
Okay.
For
That's
a
interesting
million
take.
years, we knew nothing about electricity. It was a parlor game up until about 1860. It wasn't until 1868 that we actually built the first hydroelectric dam up in Wisconsin in the United States.
When we first discovered electricity, it was like we discovered something, we invented something, you know. Electricity has been there all the time. It's been in us all the time. We just understood it, we harnessed it, and we used it. But you know, we're newbies to this technology. If we see how long as and how used it is throughout the universe, you know, it's so interesting.
Before life carriers put the plasm of life to start life here, electricity was sparking all over the place in the form of lightning. And
And this is something interesting, and I'm gonna put this in our conversation, but I don't know if you've seen uh there's a video where they show a cell being with a sperm, the sperm cell, it becomes a conception. Have you seen that? And it gives off a spark. Have you seen that video?
no, I
There's
haven't seen
something
that.
that's in the microscope and it's all dark and you see it's all and boom, just around it, the moment the sperm cell goes into the egg, boom, there's a halo of light. So that's what it is. And what do we understand that you have two together, they spark the third one, and that is in what I teach in the mind cosmology and the sequence of they tell you about the fundamental or the original sequence. It first was the magnetic tone, which is central, then there was a polar tone, which is separates, and if you can see that starts the mitosis, right? That's the sequence that starts life. But the third tone is electric, and they name it electric because now it has its own life. Once you put that electricity into it, it gets into the circuits, you know,
Well,
of
and
existence.
take that back to the beginning of our conversation. When the fourth phase of water is occurring, this crystalline phase, because it expelled all positive protons, typically water is neutral.
Yeah,
And distilled water, you can, take a bucket of distilled water, put an electrical charge in it, and put your hand in it, and nothing's going to happen
yeah,
because there's no minerals to carry that charge. Minerals are essential. When water flows over the rocks, it's picking up the minerals, and
Yeah.
the minerals are what give it that spark. So that sperm that you're talking about, when the sperm meets the egg, they're both already electrified. Now you got two different currents that are working together, creating a whole new entity all by itself.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned this, but when I used to sell a product called that was hydrophobic, and this was a product especially to isolate any electric charge for anything. And there's a video. I'm gonna look for it. They get a blow dryer. They put this on the blow dryer. They have the full blow dryer on, and they throw it into the bucket. And then the guy goes and just plays around the water, not getting electrocuted. Everybody sees that. I want that. If you can do that, I know I'm not gonna get shocked. So it's so mystical. It's so interesting that what you're saying. It's the minerals within the water that do have the conductivity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And shoot,
You have to have, and that's why the best water you can drink is spring water.
yeah,
Water that has been flowing through the springs, getting activated, getting charged, picking up the
the
minerals
flavor of it.
that are essential, the flavor, everything about it is the best water. If you can't do that, don't go to the store and buy plastic bottles. Get yourself a decent carbon filter. Take time to, I don't know, I got a coffee cup, but charge your water, shake it up,
Yeah,
put it in your heart, pray over your water, put it in your mouth, wash it around, ask your angels to charge that water, ask the spirit. I believe angels recognize us as vibrating vessels of water, not as so much humans. They can distinguish us from the room around us because we are living organisms and the life is that water.
yeah, yeah. It's so interesting, and just to we're almost done with the program, but I have actually one of my uncles. I'm trying to remember what his. He works with actually a concept that it's the condensation instead of getting the water from it. And this is pretty good because you get from the condensation. It has filters and everything, so you're not getting water from everywhere. And then like that concept where you're not getting it from here from everything that's in around us. You're condensing it. And that's becoming water. So even that concept of condensation, and especially it with dew in the mornings when everything is, that everything has dew, and you look at it, and where did this water come from? It just appeared. The actual change in temperature in the atmosphere created this what is water. It's so beautiful, and it's always so amazing what the mysteries that water holds.
Yeah, I'm still, for years I wondered how water got to the top of mountains. Now my big question, and I still, in fact, I had a great discussion with Dr. Pollock a couple of weeks ago, and he gave me some insights, but he didn't understand it either. How do clouds float? We have a little bit
Yeah,
of an
they're so
idea.
heavy. They're so heavy.
Exactly. If they can create enough water to cause floods down here with, billions of gallons of water falling down from the earth, and we know how,
How did you get them
water
over
weighs
there?
eight pounds for a gallon of water. Well, there's millions of
It-
gallons
yeah,
falling from this. How does it all of a sudden coalesce, and how does it float?
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
the natures of life, the God gifts,
yeah,
are
yeah.
our our duty to study, but
And that's
we'll
where
never
you
fully
find
understand.
worship. I believe when you're amazed by this, that's worshiping. It's you fall, in awe to existence. So, before we go, Jack, please can you? I mean, we're going to be sharing your links, but tell us a little bit more of what the practical aspects of your work. Where can they find you? Your books. Give us a brief summary
Well,
of what you
I'm
work.
on all the social media platforms with Wisdom Accelerators.
Okay,
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I I I do little posts every day, which are really
right.
water related posts, and they might be about trust, they might be about wisdom, they might be about responsibility. They vary. Little poetic insights with a beautiful picture of water. So that's, one of the ways they can see me. My book is on Amazon. For those who don't know, Amazon's kind of crazy. I have to sell the color version of the book for $33, and I make 47 cents for each book sold. So
No
I
worries,
also
no worries. Well, we won't get into those details, but yeah, you can buy it. I mean, even if you don't make a buck out of it, people
well,
can
and I
really
and I
get
have it
wisdom.
available on my website,
Okay, great.
Wisdom Accelerators. You can actually get the version there for I can't even remember $6 or $7. If you really want it and you can't afford it, I have you go if you type in Uranjac Uranjac, you can get a free copy
This is only you can only do this, and this is a premium
through
here
this.
in this
Yeah,
podcast.
I set that
So
up so there was a coupon in there.
yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect. Well, thanks
Uh,
for that pleasure. Yeah, and I mean all the links that Jack of what he's saying are here, so you can visit. I think there's a lot of good things, and not only the part of science, which I think that's a great of what Jack does, but how you apply it to the wisdom, like he's saying, wisdom accelerators. How can you apply this to everyday life and really try to be like I say, if you're here in the world, let's try to at least do something positive, before we leave. So it's been a pleasure, Jack. I really liked our conversation, and so just closing remarks before we say goodbye. Let's take a look and just taking back up what we discussed is we float through Jack's rich waters. And what did we learn? We went from survival to spiritual philosophy, poetic wisdom, and his heartfelt mission to awaken insight in others. Hydroviews teaches us that wisdom isn't distant. It's a current that we can learn to navigate. Thank you, Jack, for sharing your journey and offering tools and metaphors that invite us and to flow more directly towards God and towards truth, beauty, and goodness. And I don't know, one if you want to any closing remarks, anything before we go.
it, we all want to be thankful to God, but the big thing is to just be thankful for everything that runs your way, and as you're grateful for the bad as well as the good, and that is where your growth is going to come from. And
Totally.
we tend to say life keeps coming around. There are lessons we have to learn.
Yeah.
When you're grateful for everything, the lessons become a lot easier to handle.
Yeah, even the hardest lessons, even if they sting, you know that
And
it's for
don't look for a
something.
reason to be grateful.
Yeah,
Just say, "Father, thank you. Now help me deal with it." And it's
exactly,
okay.
exactly.
Uh,
Yeah,
instead of "Why me?" just "Thank you and help me."
exactly, exactly. Well, thanks for those comments, Jack. I think that's proper to end the program today. So remember, if you like this program, if you like the Divine Within, and only if you like it, just subscribe. You can share with people, not only through a link. You can share what you just heard. If you like what Jack was telling you about water and what we think about life and God and beyond and the Divine Within, and share it with people. Tell them that we have interesting stories to talk about. If you want to, you can also have the notices that tell you when we have something coming up. So remember to do that. And this is all the time for us. I'm Santiago Kneeland. This has been The Divine Within, the invisible connection with God. Thank you for being with us. Until next time, take care and carpe diem. On the Divine Within podcast, we'll share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.